It didn't go great for the Green Bay Packers on Saturday night in the preseason opener, but one thing I can tell you, Matthew Golden, the player everyone is so excited about, he's going to be the number one receiver on this team, and it's going to be soon.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the number one Packers podcast on the internet, and the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. We are live on YouTube after the Green Bay Packers got absolutely waxed by the New York Jets 30-10. These games matter in that they were played and the play on the field matters. The ultimate outcomes, like that stuff, does not matter. The starters, though, they played, right? Matt LaFleur said they were going to play. Are you glad they did? And I want to get to the Jayden Reed bit of this in a minute, but it was a microcosm. The first two possessions were a microcosm of the problems that the Packers have had for 2 years now, at least. It was sloppy. There were drops. There were penalties. There were plays where Romeo Doubs twice against Sauce Gardner just can't finish. One of them I thought he should have had. The other was a pass. I'll call it a pass breakup. Romeo Doubs is a nice player. He's a nice player. He is a very good complementary receiver. I do not now believe, nor have I ever believed, he can be the engine of your offense. And that is exactly why they drafted Matthew Golden. And it is appropriate that the one pass Jordan Love completed in those two drives was to Matthew Golden. On the same play, the same route that Romeo Doubs could not get open on. Now, Romeo Doubs was going against Sauce. Matthew Golden was not. But Golden also drew a pass interference call against Sauce. So against their best, in fact, against one of the best corners in the league, Matthew Golden made that play. That is what they brought Matthew Golden in to do. And it's a reflection of the deficiencies of the other receivers on this team on 3rd and 6. That completion that they actually had. 3rd and medium. 3rd and we're probably going to pass. And you get a completion to Matthew Golden, simple slant concept. You've seen him work that in one-on-ones all camp, and you go, well, that's kind of unfair. But it's also because that's kind of unfair. He is an explosive, dynamic player. And he is going to be the wide receiver one on this offense sooner than later. It is just so obvious at this point. And part of that is Dontavian Wicks did not play. He's hurt. We know he's hurt, dealing with a calf injury. We'll see what he's able to do, the kind of progress he's able to make. Long time till they have to play a game. The Jayden Reed thing, though, that's tough. In a boot, in the pregame, we didn't really get any indications that he was dealing with anything like this. So it's a little bit weird to see that. And so that's concerning, but you know what we saw? We saw Matthew Golden in the slot. We saw Matthew Golden at jet motion. And I'll tell you something. The Jets had heard about Matthew Golden. I joked on social media that they had read the tweet. They're the tweets, the skeets, whatever. They've been following social media because Matthew Golden comes on the jet motion fakes the handoff, and 2 Jets reacted to it like it was real. You didn't see that from other receivers, other players. They are paying attention to what Matthew Golden is doing. That is a rookie who's already, people are going, hey, we got to pay attention to what's going on over there. That tells you everything you need to know about where this offense is headed. And I think they're going to be fine with Matthew Golden as the driver of it. Now, I also think it's interesting. They tried to take a shot against too high, a seam shot to Luke Musgrave. I think Luke Musgrave is going to have a bigger role on this team than people realize. I think they still believe in his ability to create big plays in the passing game. His speed is a weapon. Tucker Kraft underneath, one-on-one, third downs, those sorts of things. Cool. I think he can give you all of that. But if you want to scheme up a vertical shot, like Tucker Kraft on a crossing route to let him catch and run, great. But a seam ball, a wheel route, a corner route, I want Luke Musgrave running those because his speed is such a weapon. And like if you can put him on the field in 2 tight end sets with Matthew Golden and Romeo Doubs, and you're dictating terms to the defense, that's the best version of this offense. Matthew Golden is part of the best version of this offense. There's just, like at this point, I don't know how you question it. And this is not an overreaction to one game. This has been building here. If you've been listening to what we've been doing here, if you've been following what's happening on social media, what's being reported elsewhere, what's being discussed elsewhere, this is the most impressive first-round pick in training camp I can remember from the Green Bay Packers. Like, can you think of one? Think of a player you remember hearing about in this glowing of terms in camp as a rookie. It is hard to think of a player that just walks right in and goes, nope, this is mine now. It doesn't happen very often. It just is on any team, not just in Green Bay. Receivers are able to come in right away. And in the chat, someone mentioned Jair Alexander. Not like this. Josh Jackson was the more impressive player. He was the guy making all the plays in preseason. It was not like this. There certainly has not been a first-round pick in the Brian Gutekunst era like this. It's hard to imagine one in the Ted Thompson era. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. And this guy, they are giving him the reins of the offense. And it, unfortunately, part of the reason that they may have to do that is because I just don't think you're ever going to get more consistent play out of, like, there. I said earlier in the week, hey, maybe there's a Romeo Doubs breakout coming, and maybe there's another level for him to get to. But the Sauce plays were just perfectly emblematic of what he is as a receiver. It's not quite he looks like a Pro Bowler until he plays a Pro Bowler. It's sort of like whatever a tier down from that is. He looks like a really good player until he goes against a really good player, and then he just looks average, pedestrian. I don't think he's a pedestrian player. I think Matthew Golden has the potential to be the best player, the best receiver on this team this year. I think the Packers believe that. And we didn't see anything on Saturday night that would suggest anything other than that being the case. Now, he was not not even the only Packer. He was not the only Texas Longhorn that had some nice things to do on Saturday night. There was some good in a game that was not so good. We'll talk about that next on Locked On Packers. Today's live Locked On Packers brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can stay on track with all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Today's episode also brought to you by our friends at Yahoo Fantasy. It's the best time of the year. NFL kickoff almost here, and that means Yahoo Fantasy Football is back. And it's just, to me, it's just fantasy football. If it's fantasy football, it's Yahoo Fantasy Football. Locked on Packers, we are playing Yahoo Fantasy, and you should be too. If you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league, it doesn't matter. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August. To kick it off, they just dropped Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play Yahoo Fantasy Football. And the lowest scoring team in these leagues gets eliminated each week until there's just one team left standing. With the season around the corner, now's the time to get your league together and give this new mode a try. If you're more into the classics, you can still play head-to-head private leagues or join a public league. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Matthew Golden, not the only Texas Longhorn rookie that played well. Barron Sorrell played a lot in this game, and he had a slew of really nice plays. It's not going to show up in the stat sheet a ton, although I think he led the team in quarterback hits. Yep. Packers only had 3. He had 2. He won against the Jets left tackle with an absolutely filthy cross chop and just one cold. Just bang at the snap, gone. Had some nice plays in run support. Looked like an NFL player. Looked like someone who could come in and impact games in a positive way. I know the starters didn't have a ton of run on defense and did not look great when they were out there. But Lucas Van Ness did some nice things. Played physically, was not the problem by and large on that disastrous touchdown drive. They have some nice depth there with Rashawn Gary and Van Ness. And you add in an Igbare who had a nice game. Brenton Cox who made some plays. Now you add in someone like Barron Sorrell. They can really go deep on the edge. I would like to see him get some run with the ones. I would like to see opportunities against better players because we know he can beat the bad ones. They're backups for a reason. It's SEC competition then, and that's what he did. He played in the SEC. But the SEC is not the NFL. Not the NFL. So seeing this from him is really encouraging, and the same way that it is for Anthony Belton. He put a Jet linebacker on his ass on that touchdown run. And you could sort of see it coming. Comes downhill. The linebacker doesn't see him. He does not see it coming at all. Anthony Belton just annihilates him and then falls on top of him. You can see the stopping power that he has. The power on contact is just incredible. And he is someone who, you see him in college and you don't know how much it's going to translate. Okay, he's beating up these ACC pass rushers. What? Then he comes to the NFL, and now you see him against NFL players, and that strength, that power, absolutely showing up for him. That's really, really encouraging because the Packers need that to have the depth that they think they have along this offensive line. And let me add in here, Jordan Morgan. Jordan Morgan, you did not even notice Jordan Morgan was the left tackle out there. Zach Tom got beat more times than Jordan Morgan. In fact, Zach Tom is going to come up here when we talk about the not so good because he was not so good. Jordan Morgan was totally fine. So maybe all the kvetching about family night and him being a tackle and those kinds of things, maybe overrated. We'll see. Maybe he's just a gamer. We'll see. That'd be fine. I remember Dave Hellman was talking on a podcast recently about how Dak Prescott came out and threw 4 touchdowns in a preseason game after being thoroughly meh in practice. And it was just sort of like his rookie year. And it was just sort of like, wait, what? This is who he is? Sometimes players are just kind of like that. I thought he did well. I thought he acquitted himself. Is he going to, did he play well enough that I was like, oh yeah, he's going to give Rasheed Walker a run for his money? No. I don't know about that. But he played well enough. He was not the reason the offense looked not great. The offense had some opportunities too. Jordan Love, put the ball on his receivers basically every time, with the exception he floated that seam ball. But Jordan Love was fine. Jordan Love was good. Ball placement was where it needed to be. Guys got to make plays. Guys got to do something. As far as some of the later in the game guys go, Kalen King, 2 pass breakups in the end zone. I thought he looked really good. Is he a slot only player? I don't know, but this is a team in search of corners. And with Nate Hobbs hurt, is there an opportunity for him to sneak into this competition as the nickel? Colby Wooden, really cool moment. Colby Wooden, who had gone back to school, got his degree at Auburn. They announced that at the game, and he had a huge stop on 4th down, got his hands on a pass. He is fighting for his roster life. And unfortunately, Warren Brinson made some plays in this game. Nazir Stackhouse, I said this on social media. Nazir Stackhouse is a physical marvel at the point of attack. He just regularly controls blockers. But what you see is he's peaking, and he's control. He knows he can get his offensive lineman wherever he needs to get him to, but the game is happening faster than he's used to. So there's a difference between high school and college, most college and the SEC and training camp, and then training camp and the NFL. Now, you probably could go training camp to preseason and then preseason to the NFL. And then if you listen to NFL players, they will tell you the regular season to the playoffs is even another jump where things are just, and maybe it's the pressure, but everything is just, the intensity everything is more. Once he figures out the game, once he stops thinking, his ability physically is so impressive. I think he can be I think he can be that TJ Slayton. I come in 1st and 2nd down and I just eat blocks. I devour running games. Do not run at me, that kind of guy. I don't think he's ever going to be a productive pass rusher. I don't think he's going to be a 3rd down player. I don't think he's going to be Justin Madubuike or Dexter Lawrence or anything like that. But a almost perfectly 1-for-1 TJ Slayton replacement in TJ Slayton's old number. Yeah, I think he can be that. And that would be really useful for this team that kind of got gashed on the ground. And, I don't want to make too much of this because Jeff Hafley's defense, we'll talk about it in a second, but they were scheming stuff up. They did not play vanilla nothing. They actually tried to do some things defensively. And they just didn't get the level of play that they really needed at that spot. But these young defensive linemen, like all 3 of these guys, we didn't get to see Colin Oliver, unfortunately. He's hurt. But Sorrell, Wooden, Brinson, Stackhouse, we didn't see much of Carl Brooks. I don't know what I need to see from him at this point. Those guys looked good. I like the flashes that I saw. I don't expect rookies to come out and play, 30 great snaps. I want to see flashes. And that's exactly what I saw from those guys. Now, the problem is the list of players who were good, it's not very long. It's not very long. And yes, it is a preseason game. That did not stop Bears fans from jumping in the chat here and I guess trying to, I don't know what they're bragging about. But there are There are some things to talk about when it comes to the lowlights, the problems, the things to clean up. And we will get in depth with that in just a second here on Locked On Packers. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavors of your favorite golf drink minus the alcohol into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, there's a hole-in-one for your energy game. On Friday, I played a little golf, and I had a chance to break 80 for the first time, and went double to close out my round and shot an 83, and that was very frustrating to me personally. You know what I could have used? A 5-Hour Energy. I was dragging at the end, obviously, to close double. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that's the number 5hourenergy.com. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONGolf to get 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. This code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. They're not so good. The losers, if you will. Who? No. How about fundamentals? How about that? I made the Ricky Bobby joke on socials. It seemed like the receivers and the offensive linemen didn't know what to do with their hands. 5, 6, maybe 7 drops. A slew of holding penalties. Like, you expect some of that stuff because all of a sudden, as I mentioned, the game goes faster. So, oh, the ball is right here. I'm going to turn and make a play, and they can actually tackle me. Oh, that stunt is not what I expected or not how we practiced. I'm just going to reach out and grab, or I'm losing a rep because they're going full out, and I'm used to training camp where maybe not everyone is going full out. Some of that stuff is to be expected. The problem is last year, drops were a problem for the Packers. Holding calls were a problem for the Packers. That is not what you want. You want to see a team that seems to be making progress with those things, especially for a coach who preaches those things. When asked about it at halftime, Matt LaFleur said that they made some mistakes on offense, defense, and special teams. So, but other than that, everything's great, right? It's frustrating. It's disappointing. And you really don't want to see it from Zach Tom. Like, that sloppy play. Will McDonald beat him cold on a spin move. Cold. And there was another play where Zach Tom could have easily been called for a hold. He got beat on. Did not come ready to play. I don't know if this team as a whole came ready to play. I didn't love, there were a couple plays from Aaron Banks where I was just like, you can't pay $19, $20 million for that level of play. It's just not good enough. Now, I do want to say, this is a team. I had this conversation with Kevin Ostreicher from our Locked On Ravens show the other day. This is a team that is going to be ultimately measured by what it does in January. How many weeks do you play in January? That is how this team is going to be measured. So I understand not coming out with maximum intensity for a preseason game. But if the starters are going to be out there, then you got to play. Like, Keyshawn Nixon can't be getting frozen by Justin Fields in the open field and then getting run away from. That stuff can't happen. And what's crazy about it is, it wasn't like Garrett Wilson was beating them up on defense. Or Breece Hall. He's throwing to fullbacks, scrambling, like that stuff. The linebackers are either getting too deep on 3rd and 6, they're dropping to 8 yards. Or when they should be dropping to 8 yards, they're dropping to, 6. It's just not, the details are not where they need to be. And I think Jeff Hafley is a hell of a coach, but the linebackers, I wanted to see more from Edgerrin Cooper. Not that I thought he was bad, but didn't stay on his feet a couple times. The field did seem a little slick. I know that it had been rainy, so that's part of it, but That's part of your job, is to keep your feet. It just has to be better than that. And I don't want to harp on the Romeo Dobbs thing, but he had been on like a 2-week heater where he's making play after play after play in training camp. And then you go up against an A corner and you just get erased. Like, he just may be that quadruple A receiver, that hitter that goes down to minor league ball and just knocks it out of the park, the training camp maven. And then regular season, it's just not against the best guys. Is he going to be that player? I just don't think so. So I want to see it from these corners. I want to see it from the edge guys. Like I said, I thought Lucas Van Ness had some nice things to do. We didn't get to see them much. The Jets do have some quality offensive linemen, and Justin Fields is very hard to handle. They had him dead in the pocket. Like, it was over. The play was over. And Devontae Wyatt, who struggles to finish plays, could not finish the play. This is the frustrating thing. And so I don't want to overreact to a preseason game. But I understand the people that are frustrated when they see the same mistakes that have beguiled this team for 2 years now still being made. And I understand the preseason, that's what fixing it is for. But no, that's what training camp is for. So that you show up once the games are being played, and these are not the mistakes, the ones that have just cropped up over and over and over. Now, there's no like situational stuff that they screwed up this time. They've been practicing some of the situational stuff, which I appreciated hearing about some of that stuff. Like the end of, they practiced offensively and defensively, the end of game Chicago situation that they botched so badly last year. Matt LaFleur talked about that with Kevin Clark. That preparation is vital, but then you come into these games and it's like, okay, so what happens in practice? And I don't want to blame solely the coaches. Like, the players have to show up to play. The coaches can only do so much. The players ultimately have to come do the thing. And I know that everyone, I started to see it on Twitter. I'm just like, oh my God, everyone, please relax. Like Ed policy. Everyone's on the clock. He hasn't handed out any contract extensions because he's waiting to see. That's not happening. It's not happening. Like, there is zero evidence over the course of Packers history, which is over 100 years, that a new president is going to come in and start acting like an owner and capriciously make hiring and firing decisions. It's just not how this team operates. It has never been how they operate. It is not how you want them to operate. This game ultimately does not matter very much. It does not tell us very much about how they are going to look when week 1 rolls around. So don't freak out. But I do understand the frustration from people who are going, this is same stuff, the same stuff. Now it allows Matt LaFleur to get this team refocused. Actually, I think the same thing happened with the Broncos game last year when they got absolutely blasted in that game, no-showed in that game. And that was the second preseason game. I think that allowed Matt LaFleur to say, hey guys, like, I know the starters, a lot of you did not play, but a lot of guys who did play, we're going to need you. And that was not good enough. The effort was not good enough. The intensity was not good enough. I think those moments can be good in training camp. They have joint practices coming up. That's going to be important. They've got 2 more preseason games. Those are going to be important. The only thing that matters is that you are ready to go against the Detroit Lions week 1. That's all that matters. So was this disappointing? Absolutely. Yes, it was. It was. Does it matter ultimately? Do I think it affects the way that I view week 1? No. In fact, if anything, it makes me go, hey, the one thing I really thought that they needed to do was find a guy at receiver, and they did it. They did it. Don't give in to the worst impulses of doom and gloom. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But do follow me on the social medias. Follow the podcast on the social medias. Subscribe wherever you get podcasts to Locked On Packers. We're going to be here live after every preseason game, every regular game, every playoff game. Subscribe on our YouTube page so you can make sure you're hanging with us live so you can stay Locked On Packers.